and welcome to Nebo TV. Today we are going to be telling quite a story from the ancient Benin Kingdom. The sad story of Princess Adesuwa Ogie-Oboro in ancient Benin Kingdom. But before I go into today's show, my name is Onome Agbaje. I would like to appreciate our returning subscribers and those joining us for the first time. It would do us a great deal if you smash the subscription button, like and share this video with your loved ones. Brimming with spiritual diviners and fortune tellers, there is no doubt that mystics have over the centuries played a strong role in the history of Benin Kingdom. One of the most prominent oral histories of ancient Benin is about a beautiful young woman, Princess Adesuwa, the daughter of Chief Ezomo Nuzebu. She was killed by a provincial king, Ogie-Oboro or Obi of Oboro, in the 18th century. At that time, Oboro Kingdom was a vassal of Benin Kingdom, as one of the children of the Oba of Benin was said to have established a dukedom in Oboro. Today, in Nigeria, the Oboro Kingdom is located at Delta State. The death of Princess Adesuwa resulted in 2 tribal wars in Benin. Before the outbreak of the wars, there were doleful prophecies by spiritualists which were treated with levity. In her prime, Princess Adesuwa was regarded as the most beautiful lady in the Benin Kingdom, while her father, Chief Ezomo Ogie, was undoubtedly the richest nobleman in the kingdom. Princess Adesuwa was fondly referred to as the Queen of People's Hearts, a paragon of heavenly creation and for sure the most beautiful creation by heavenly deity. Her beauty was so captivating that some even claimed that she was a spirit. In fact, she was said to be the most beautiful woman that ever lived in the history of Benin and had many men knocking at her feet. The news of her beauty spread far and wide, filtered into the palace of the king of Benin, Oba Akenguda, who promptly proposed to marry the damsel. At that time, it was a big privilege, a kind of dream come true for a woman to marry the supreme ruler of the land. However, her betrothal to the monarch ended in tragedy, as her life was brutally cut short by Ogie-Oboro after she verbally abused him in the Oboro Kingdom. Ogie-Oboro was deemed as the most mystical figure under the territory of Benin Kingdom, and he fell in love with Adesuwa when he paid a courtesy visit to the Oba of Benin about the year 1752 AD. During his visit to the Oba, he had the opportunity to pay a brief visit to his friend, Chief Ezomo Nuzebu. At that time in Benin, it was customary for both male and female to offer kola nuts to visitors in the kingdom. Thus, Chief Ezomo asked his wife Idia to offer a kola nut to his eminent friend, but Idia was engaged with domestic chores and told Princess Adesuwa to give her a helping hand. Thus, when Ogie-Oboro saw Princess Adesuwa, he was stunned by the beauty that was before him. According to oral history, for a few minutes, Ogie-Oboro could not utter a word. Adesuwa was an industrious young lady who was selling goats in the market. Before Ogie-Oboro left Benin, he quickly bought a goat from Adesuwa and promised to give her the money the next day. Immediately, Ogie-Oboro went back to the Oboro Kingdom. He started using charms to call Adesuwa to come to Oboro Kingdom. This was his deliberate plan to bring Adesuwa to Oboro in person, creating the opportunity to know her better. It was Ogie-Oboro's plan and intentions of proposing to her in person so he could marry her. He called his native doctor to consult the gods about his desire to marry Princess Adesuwa. He told him of his love encounter with the beautiful daughter of Ezomo. He said he has set deliberate love traps for the princess on a secret scheme of how to bring her to Oboro Kingdom so he could marry her. He told the native doctor that he bought a goat from Adesuwa on a payable promissory note, with the intent of paying her by the next day. He plans to use the scheme of promissory debt to bring Adesuwa in person to Oboro. He ordered the native doctor to call her spirit being to come to Oboro so he could collect her money. The native doctor consulted the gods and warned Ogie-Oboro to desist from inviting Adesuwa to Oboro Kingdom, that the gods have revealed to him if she comes to Oboro in person, it will be calamitous and the end will be tragic. This might lead to an unavailable disaster, consuming many lives, including the lives of Ogie-Oboro himself.
But Ogie-Oboro did not respect the prophecy of the native doctor as he continued to call the soul of Adesuwa to come to Oboro. He told his diviner to call Adesuwa to come to Oboro, otherwise he would face the wrath of the Duke. The diviner had no choice but to embark in a spiritual activity to call the soul of Adesuwa to come to Oboro. The parents of Adesuwa experienced the change in Adesuwa's behavior as Ogie-Oboro was using charm to call their daughter to Oboro Kingdom. The mother, Idia, advised her to forget about the money Ogie-Oboro is owing her. The father, Chief Ezomo, urged Adesuwa not to travel to Oboro Kingdom and to forget about the money that he will pay Adesuwa the money himself. But Adesuwa refused to listen to the advice of her parents. At this point, the parents realized that Ogie-Oboro has won the heart of their daughter with his mystical charm. In desperation, they quickly consulted a specialist in Benin, but the diviner dolefully told them that Oboro has already convoked the soul of Adesuwa. No power on earth will be able to stop her from traveling to Oboro Kingdom. The parents were told if Adesuwa goes to Oboro, she will certainly not come back. The diviner, however, advised the parents to send a maid along with Adesuwa to Oboro, with a charm firmly placed in the maid's mouth to confuse Adesuwa so as to miss her way to Oboro and return home in frustration. But the charm worked to an extent and lost its efficacy, while Adesuwa still finds her way to Ogie-Oboro Palace. Immediately Adesuwa stepped her feet into the Oboro Kingdom. The people were amazed with the beauty that visited their kingdom. Some even thought she was a spirit. The violence that arose when Adesuwa arrived led the Obi to angrily kill her for verbally abusing him. The angry Adesuwa, who came to collect her money from Ogie-Oboro, was surprised with a sudden love request from him. She was raging in anger and verbally abused him for requesting her love. She said, "Ehol me, the daughter of Chief Ezomo of Benin. Thus you want me to leave Benin and come and marry you in Oboro? You village duke, who is not up to a Benin slave." Adesuwa was a proud Benin girl, given that her father was the richest chief and the defense minister of the great Benin kingdom. She believed that she was superior to anyone outside the Benin territory. At that point in history, the Benin people, many neighboring nations, and even the Europeans believed that the Oba of Benin was the most powerful king in the part of the West Africa due to the kingdom's military might. The proud Adesuwa continued to rain insults on Obi of Oboro, but he patiently swallowed the insult because of love. The insult that provoked Ogie-Oboro was when she called him an uncircumcised slave. Ogie-Oboro, who was unable to tolerate such a verbal insult, ran into his palace and brought out his magical sword and stabbed Adesuwa until her last breath. The maid who accompanied her to Oboro Kingdom ran back to Benin to report the news of the death of Adesuwa to her master and what transpired at Ogie-Oboro's palace. When the news finally got to Benin, the mind became a soup of emotion. Hell let loose. Both the elderly and young in Benin rained curses on Ogie-Oboro as they mourned the death of the beautiful queen that was suddenly taken away from the Benin. At this point, the Benin people believed that Ogie-Oboro intentionally killed Adesuwa in rebellion to Benin and he must be duly punished. Recall that before the death of Adesuwa, the Oba of Benin had proposed to marry Adesuwa and the Benin people were preparing for the marriage ceremony. The Oba retaliated and demanded that the head of Ogie-Oboro be removed from his neck and brought to him in Benin. With this order from the king himself, the stage was now set for a war between the Benin kingdom and the most powerful warrior Ogie-Oboro in the region. However, the Benin warriors knew that Ogie-Oboro was a mystical being, a skillful physician with supernatural powers, and he had a magical sword that could defy all odds and inflict defeat on them. They immediately began to prepare both physically and spiritually in order to remove the head of Ogie-Oboro from his neck. When the Benin warriors finally confronted Ogie-Oboro, anger met with anger. Ogie-Oboro and his soldiers fought the Benin warriors copiously. He made use of his magical sword in the battlefield and subdued many Benin warriors. They observed Ogie-Oboro on several occasions, disappearing and reappearing in form of 7 people during the war. Consequently, the Obi and his soldiers defeated the Benin warriors and they returned back to Benin and reported to the Oba of Benin the situation of the war. Despite the fact that Chief Ezomo, the father of Adesuwa, was the richest chief and defense minister of Benin who commanded the kingdom's military then, but it was difficult for Benin warriors to conquer Ogie-Oboro. The military might of Benin rested heavily under the authority of Chief Adesuwa. After the Benin military failed at their first attempt to bring down Ogie-Oboro, the question was explicit. Now, how can the Benin bring back its glory by conquering the overnight warrior Ogie-Oboro? The Benin people embarked on a spiritual solution. On consulting the oracle, the Oba was told that the only one who could subdue Ogie-Oboro was Adesuwa Ogie, the Enoge of Duke of Ugo, who was also known as Agbogidi. This is because Agbogidi trained as a student of magical arts and science under Ogie-Oboro. He alone knew or had the secret of his defeat. The death of Adesuwa was now a national issue that is demanding the effort of everyone in the country to bring back the glory of Benin by the defeat of Ogie-Oboro. It is important to understand that Adesuwa Ogie was the Enoge of Ugo in Iyokoriomo with the title of Agbogidi. He had a daring and indomitable spirit, but he was very ugly. Agbogidi was a hunter who was specialized in killing elephants and other wild animals. It was customary at that time for the Enoges of Ugo to hunt wild animals because they were born warriors. Traditionally, in ancient times, it was mandatory for any chief under the territory of Benin to offer one elephant tusk to the Oba of Benin whenever an elephant was killed in his village. During the Benin and European trade, the Oba of Benin was one of the major suppliers of elephant tusk in the region of West Africa as a result of this tradition. Thus, when Agbogidi was infected with a spiritual illness, his mother invited many native doctors to treat her son. None of them were able to cure him. It was at that point the oracle hinted that Obi of Oboro, who was a skillful physician of his time, could perform cure with all ease. The Duke of Ugo was taken to Oboro by his favorite wife Adesuwa before Ogie-Oboro, who accordingly effected the cure after 2 months. Such speedy recovery induced Adesuwa Ogie to remain under Obi at Oboro as an occult student studying higher knowledge in medical science for a whole year. Having graduated and was about to return to Ugo, his town, the Ogie-Oboro prophesied and told Adesuwa Ogie that he would kill him in the future, but this same fate would surely befall him afterwards. As it was a taboo for the student to take away the life of his tutor, Agbogidi replied to him that he could not pay back his kindness towards him with evil, that he shall forever remain grateful and loyal to his friend, and made a vow with his life never to betray their friendship. The invitation of Agbogidi by Oba of Benin to help cure Ogie-Oboro would break the covenant Agbogidi made with the master. At first, Agbogidi refused the duty of killing his mighty warrior Ogie-Oboro, who became a threat to the glory of Benin, because he remembered the prophecies of Ogie-Oboro while he was a patient and occult student under him at Oboro. He pleaded with the Oba that Obi was his benefactor, therefore he could not hurt him. Agbogidi made a vow with his life not to betray Ogie-Oboro in the course of their life. However, after several negotiations, his favorite wife Adesuwa was used to manipulate him to agree to the king's request. After much pressure, however, he agreed and was eventually placed in command of a large army and marched against the Oboro kingdom. After terrible fighting by him and his wife, who acted as a source of supernatural strength, the town was captured and the head of Ogie-Oboro was sent to the Oba of Benin. In ancient times, it was customary for the head of any conquered monarch to be presented to the Oba of Benin, and the head will be immortalized in a bronze artwork in Benin Kingdom. It was also a tradition of recording history with artifacts. According to history, Benin has existed as an organized urban community for more than 1,500 years. There was no record both in folklore and recorded history, suggesting that during this long period, the town was ever occupied or conquered by any foreigner, except the episode of 1897 when Britain invaded Benin. After Ogie-Oboro was conquered, a new controversy between Ugo and Benin Kingdom emanated, as Agbogidi was very indignant at the rough words used against him by the Imaran of Igama of Benin Kingdom. Moreover, when Imaran reported the defeat of Ogie-Oboro to the Oba of Benin, he gave all the credits to himself and did not acknowledge the role Agbogidi played in the success of the war against Ogie-Oboro. Agbogidi was aggrieved over the altercation regarding the accounts of the war, and he was also dissatisfied with the reward given to him by the Oba of Benin. Consequently, he returns to Ugo in a bad mood. The Oba retired to persuade him to come back and not take offense, but no response. This disagreement resulted in another civil war between Ugo and the Benin Kingdom. Ogie-Oboro declared war against the Benin people by engaging in rebellious acts of failing to adhere to the peaceful engagements of good neighborliness, by initiating acts of killing innocent traders who came to Ugo town to do selling and buying of their wares, and purposefully for business transactions. The Oba of Benin initially objected, remembering how he assisted the Benin Kingdom to conquer Ogie-Oboro. He offered him an Oba pardon, but Ogie-Oboro glorified in himself acclaimed prowess as a strong man of battle who could not desist from his rebellious ego. He went on to still harass the people of Benin. In about 1775, the Oba of Benin retaliated by dispatching 3 strong companies of warriors, namely Abokina, Igizemete, and Agodo, to Ugo. They were all dressed up in red regalia apparel, under the command of Olugushere. The king's royal troop then marched stridently against Ugo's group of soldiers, and a brutal battle ensued, which was fought so fiercely. In a location that was not far from the town, Ogie-Oboro was defeated, but he escaped and remained alive. In order to evade the tradition of removing his head and taking it to the Oba of Benin, Ogie-Oboro decided to contrive his own life and drown himself in the river of Igbogon. The 2 wars led to the loss of many lives, including the life of Ogie-Oboro. The death of Ogie-Oboro escalated the war between the Benin Kingdom and the Enogie, or Duke of Ugo, who was also known as Ogie-Oboro. The intricacies of the war forced Ogie-Oboro to drown himself in the river Igbogon before he could be captured by the Benin warriors. The short life of Adesuwa instigated 2 tribal wars in Benin. The several events that accumulated as a result of her beauty led to a distraught end. This culturally inconceivable act of a female serving kola nuts to a guest on a welcoming occasion led to the historic aftermath of Princess Adesuwa presenting kola nuts to Ogie-Oboro. After the death of Princess Adesuwa, females were prohibited from presenting kola nuts to guests in the Benin Kingdom. The prophecy of Ogie-Oboro to Ogie-Oboro came to pass in the story. Ogie-Oboro killed Ogie-Oboro, which eventually confirmed the prophecy of Ogie-Oboro that Ogie-Oboro would kill him. In the story of Adesuwa and Ogie-Oboro, the prophecy of the native doctor at Oboro Kingdom, who consulted the gods and warned predictably that Ogie-Oboro should forget about Princess Adesuwa, and that the gods have revealed to him that if Adesuwa comes to Oboro, the end will be very tragic, that it will lead to a great disaster and many lives will be lost as a result, including the life of Ogie-Oboro himself. The prophecy of the native doctor eventually came true as it was initially predicted. The relationship between Ogie-Oboro and Adesuwa spelled doom on lives of many people in both Oboro and Benin Kingdom. This is an affirmation and confirmation that prophecies had moral values in the ancient Benin Kingdom.
Wow, interesting. That was quite a story of the ancient Benin Kingdom, Princess Adesuwa and Ogie-Oboro. Thank you so much for joining us on Nebo TV today. We hope you learned something from this amazing story that has shaped the history of Benin Kingdom today. Till next time, keep watching Nebo TV. Don't forget to smash the subscription button if you are yet to do so. Like and share this video with your loved ones. Stay inspired.